You want to buy a condominium unit here in Miami, Florida, just like the ones that I have right behind me, but you want to know all the specifics that you need to watch out for here in Miami before starting the process. Well, in today's video, I'm going to tap into all things condos like HOA, recertification laws, assessments, financing, and more. By the way, I am Stefania McGolden, your local Miami and South Florida real estate agent. So if you're thinking of buying, selling, investing, or even renting here in Miami or anywhere in South Florida, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Send me a text, send me an email, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you make the move. Now, let's dive into Miami condominiums. Okay, so 10 steps, and I'm gonna start by the number one, which is financing. There is something called a non-warrantable condo, and there are many of those here in Miami. What does that mean? Well, non-warrantable condos can be condos that have high percentage of non-owner occupied units, high percentage of vacation home rentals. It could be that the building is in litigation. It could be that the building has a lot of assessments. It could mean many things in which banks cannot apply regular financing to this type of building. So that's why I usually recommend to all my buyers to talk to at least 2 loan officers, ideally mortgage brokers, because they have a wide variety of banks in their database, in their portfolio. Meaning that if you really like a building, but your favorite bank don't lend there, the mortgage broker will be able to shop around for you and see which of all of the banks it's able to finance in the building that you want. Also, if you're using special programs for your first time home or things like that, you need to know which building you're going to buy, because depending if the building is non-warrantable or not, if you're putting a very low down payment, you may not be able to buy in that building that you want. So at the end, what we want to know at the time of purchase, you and the realtor you're working with, is your bottom line. How much are you able to afford for housing on a monthly basis? Because perhaps you're looking at a building that has a very low HOA. However, it has an assessment or other expenses that may fluctuate your monthly housing expense. Financing. Number 2, consultation. It is important to sit down with your buyer agent and go through all the process step by step. It's not just go out and look at properties. You need to know what you're getting into, how to prepare yourself, how to prepare your expectations, how to prepare your finances, what things to do and not to do while and during the contract and the purchase and all of that, because I have seen cases buy a car right before closing on a property. So sit down and also narrow what are your top 3 main important things that you're looking for in this condominium. What's more relevant to you? Do you prefer ocean view over space? Do you prefer a higher floor, a lower floor? Do you prefer a newer building with less square footage or an older building with more square footage? You need to narrow all of these things down, because otherwise you're going to be looking at condos for the rest of your life. Number 3, and this goes hand in hand with financing and consultation, and it is understanding the recertification law that it is implemented here in Miami, Florida, to buildings of a certain age. And it depends of many factors. I'm going to put it here on the screen so you can briefly read. If you want me to send you all the details about this, just send me a text, send me an email, and I'll forward you the information. This is important to know, because if you guys don't know, in Miami, there is usually a recertification program, but in 2022, it was enhanced, meaning that the buildings need to be more through, and depending on years and proximity to the ocean and many other things, they need to do certain major repairs, which translates into assessments. And these assessments can be very brutal and very substantial, which can affect your purchase power, and it can affect you once you buy the property. So perhaps you buy the property today, and in 2 years, the recertification is coming up and the building doesn't have enough reserve, meaning that you're going to be hit with a huge assessment, and it's going to throw off all of your finances. I don't want to scare you. I just want you to be informed as to what you may be walking into, especially if you're not buying a newer building. Number 4, previewing properties. By the third property, usually my buyers already forgot what the first property looked like. So film, record, take photos, record everything. And then later on, you can rewatch your own videos and can make a better decision as to which property you prefer over others. Because by the third, the fifth property, you're overwhelmed and you start to fluctuate into what things are actually important to you, and you get awe by certain units, but it's not necessarily what you were looking for in the first place, and it's not necessarily what fit your needs. So film, record, and write down what's important and what's not important to you, and communicate to your real estate agent, because I understand things may vary along the way, but we also need to know and understand what you want. Number 5, it's offers. In Miami, you cannot just go around and put offers on all the properties and see which seller takes the bite on your offer. No, offers are binding, meaning if you place an offer, it's a contractual obligation that you're proposing to a seller. You're going to purchase a property with this price and these conditions, and if the seller agrees and return that paper signed to you, you are locked. So be very aware of that. You cannot just go around and be putting off. And also understand that a lot of units here in Miami are tenant occupied. This is another thing you need to be aware of. Why? Because if you're financing as a primary residence and the contract, the lease contract that the current tenant has is gonna end in 8 months, that might be an issue. So you need to talk to your lender, you need to talk to your mortgage broker and ask what time frame or what window do you have after closing to occupy the unit. If the tenant is moving out maybe 30 or 60 days after, maybe the bank is willing to work with you. But if it's a tenant occupied and they have a lease that they cannot break, that's a property you may not be able to buy until the tenant moves out. Also, not everything is about price. You need to consider all terms like tenant, condition, contingencies, time of closing. Maybe it's an owner-occupied unit and the owner wants to move out later on. So there are many things that involve an offer. It's not all about the price or how much you're putting as a down payment. Or perhaps, oh, I have cash. Not always cash prevails over certain things. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. Number 6, you have an accepted offer. That is very exciting. Now the hard work, because first thing is cha-ching, first deposit. You need to give the first initial deposit to a third party title or escrow company that's going to hold it, and it's independent of you or the seller. This company is going to hold the money, and if anything happens or the property sells, they're going to distribute the money accordingly. Once you do that, you move on to step 7 with engineering inspections. So for an engineering inspections, you also need to understand that the way I prepare my buyers is you just want to know what you're walking into, and if there is anything major, then let's negotiate. Again, you can negotiate even for a light bulb if you want, but that's not like a very smart way to get the deal closed. And some people get hung on into the very, very small things, but you have the chance to do your engineering inspections. And if for whatever reason or according to the contract, you decide not to move forward, you are not okay with the conditions of the property, you do have a time frame in which you can exit the contract, and it is agreed beforehand on the offer. It could be 7 days, 10 days, depending on what you guys agreed. Number 8. So you are good with the inspection. You already gave your first deposit. You are locked down into this contract. Now it's time to secure the financing. As soon as that's closed, you start working right away, and your real estate agent as well, with the loan officer to get the ball rolling. Why? Because the loan officers and the underwriter, they have to do a series of steps to make sure they're able to lend to this building. That's why they send a questionnaire to management, which they have to answer. And it's very straightforward questions related to financing. Is there a litigation in the building? What's the owner occupancy percentage of the building? Is there an assessment? Is there a recertification program? Like all of these things that may affect the ability for the bank to make money with your loan, pretty much. And once that's done, we are hoping everything aligns with the bank that you're working with. If not, you may need to switch around. But remember, time is of essence, because when you sign the contract, you usually have a time frame. When it is financing, could be 30, 45 days, 60 days, whatever it is agreed between you and the seller. So you need to commit to close on this loan within this time frame. So be on top of things. Whatever the loan officer asks, just send it right away. Number 9, and this kind of happens a little bit parallel with the loan application, and it is the condo application. You just don't just buy the condo and woohoo. No. They have to accept you also in the condo. And that's also why it's super important for me when I work with buyers to not only have the pre-approval letter that you get at the beginning of financing, but dive down into what is your debt to income ratio? What is your credit score? And all of these things, because some buildings do have specific requirements. So you may just realize down the line after like 2 months or a month into the contract that the building has a minimum credit score to be able to buy. And you don't have it. So you need to know all of the details. You need to apply for the condo. Usually they just ask for financing, for pre-approval letter, for basic things like ID, background check, and things like that to be able to approve you. But this can take time. This can take 2, 3, even 4 weeks. And remember, if you have 30 to 45 days to close, time is of essence. Number 10, and the favorite one of everybody after all of this, you guys are finally ready to close. And that's amazing. But before you close, you need to go to the unit. And this is what's called the final walkthrough to make sure everything is in the same condition that you saw when you first walked in and signed the contract. There is nothing missing. There is like everything is exactly the same. Everything is functioning, the plumbing, the electric, everything. So you check that, and then maybe a day after or even the same day, it's the actual closing. And ta-da! That's it. 10 steps to buy a condominium unit here in Miami, Florida. And this has been all for today. I hope this video was of use to you so you can finally become a homeowner, a condo owner here in Miami, Florida. If you want more information about any topic that I touch on or any questions that you may have, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Send me a text, give me a call, send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help you make the move, whether you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest.